So we're looking at the camera, so that only means one thing, it's fishing time again. I've been home and had some dinner and I've got all my stuff on. I've got my thermals on, I've got some flasks because I think it's going to be chilly tonight. It's a clear sky, I can see a great big moon up there. And I'm going to head down the seafront, might have a look at the pier again, might pop down to the coffee cup again, I don't know until I get there. But going fishing, high tide's at 10 o'clock, it's 6:15 now. So got a good few hours up and maybe an hour down, we'll see how it goes. Fingers crossed. So good evening guys, I'm back down the coffee cup again, a little bit further to the right this time because there's a lot of anglers along there. It looks like there might be a match on tonight down that side, so I'm on the end of them. It's a much nicer evening tonight, it's much calmer, there's hardly any wind at all. Ferries are coming out, it's a massive old moon up there shining down, really clear sky, so I think it's going to get cold tonight, but it's lovely moonlight shining on the water. The waves aren't so hectic. I'm not seeing any big clumps of weed along the edge like I did last time. I am seeing lots of oyster shells along the edge though. Don't know if that means anything, but yeah, there's loads of them. I've got my usual, I've got a box of squid and I've got a packet of sand eel, so I'm going to fish whole squid on one rod, double sand eel on the other rod. And it's about 6:30 now and high tide's at 10 o'clock, so I've got a good time I get set up and get the rods out there. I've got a good 3 hours up and maybe a little bit down, we'll see how we go. So as you can see, I've got starlights on the end of my rods again this time. That first time I fished, I didn't have any and I stood out there all night with the headlamp shone on the rod tips all night, draining my batteries, and couldn't really relax. So this is much nicer. You can probably hear me a bit better tonight as well without them waves rolling. They're still rolling, but they're mini waves compared to what we had before. Before, that last time, that was really pushing some shingle around and that's what makes all the noise. There's still a bit getting chucked about down there, but it's minimal really. So I'm going to get some reels on these now, get some rigs on, get some baits on, get them out in the sea, and then I'll come back to you. And there's the first bait guys, done and ready to go out. So these are the really special nights that I like. Moonlit night, really calm. Tide's not racing, although it is really low in the tide at the moment. It's about 3 hours before high, so it's not going to start pushing through just yet, but it's just nice to watch still rod tips. Again, I've got fairly big baits on out there, so I'm not expecting to get plagued by whiting or anything like that. It's just lovely sat on the beach. So the ultimate goal is a ray, really. I'd love to catch a ray. I've never caught a ray off the beach, and I think I've only caught 1 or 2 from out in the charter boats, and we're talking 20-25 years ago. So to catch any type of ray off the beach would be amazing. I think that's the actual target. But I fear I've missed the time for that, really. Probably autumn would have been better. Now we're going into winter. I think it's going to be tough going. I think the deeper we go into winter, there's a chance of a cod enough this beach. It's not prolific for them by any means, but they do get caught. And on these big baits could catch a winter bass. They're all year round species. Obviously dogfish and strap congers have been showing up quite a lot recently. But I'm just happy to catch whatever. It's just the excitement of watching that rod tip rattle when you've got a big bait on. I'm not quite sure what it's going to do. Well guys, I can't believe it, but I was just talking to you about my target being a ray off the beach, any type of ray. And I've gone and caught one. First cast with the sand eel rod, I've got this ray. And I believe it's an undulate ray. And it's quite heavy as well. That is absolutely fantastic. Absolutely over the moon with that. Bloody hell, look at that. Absolutely unbelievable. I think that's an undulate ray. It wouldn't come in because of the tide and the waves coming in and then pushing back out again. It kept on getting caught in the surf and taking line off the reel. Absolutely epic battle close in. But yeah, there we go. That's my first ray off the beach. Proper chuff, let's get him back. So, he's a happy bunny then. Can't believe that. Still can't get over it. Put the rods back out again. I've checked the squid rod and that hadn't been touched, so I've just put it straight back out again. And the sand eel rod's back out where it was. But yeah, I've got a few little taps on the rod tip and I just thought perhaps, you know, another dogfish, same as I had last time. And then it got a little bit more violent and the rod tip really pulled over. Proper bite. So I went down to the water's edge, tightened up to it, and it felt really heavy. But I thought at that point it might have been a lump of weed with a dogfish in it, because I kept getting the odd tug, the odd pull. It wasn't until I got it quite close in where these waves are rolling that every time the waves retreated from the beach, it was taking loads of line. And then I was gaining a little bit as the waves were coming up the beach, but then again it would go again and I'd lose line again, and it got into some shallow water and I saw the wings flap, so I was pretty sure that I had a ray on. And then when the next tide came in, I ran back up the beach with it and beached it, and yeah, you saw it. I think it's an undulate ray. If you could just put in the comments below just for definite. Pretty sure from what I've seen it is an undulate. The first ray from the beach. Don't know about size, not really bothered about that to be honest, just so chuffed to have caught it. I was just saying that I'd love to catch a ray from the beach. That is my absolute target, and I'll get one first cast. Unbelievable. Proper chuffed. I'm going to have a cup of coffee now, watch these rod tips and just smile for a while, alright? Brilliant. So there you go guys, first dogfish of the night. They come on a squid rod. I've been getting a series of bites on there and I thought there might be something small on there, so I let the bite develop and there he was. He was up really neatly, so he'll go back nicely. Gonna get him back and get the rod back out. Happy days. And a couple of little taps on the sand eel rod. That time produced a whiting. There we go. Small whiting, mostly hooked in the bottom lip. Get a couple of fresh ones on there and get them back out. So there we have it, guys. There's my 4th fish of the night and my 4th species, and we've got a lovely little strap conger. It's a really good bite on the rod tip as well. Proper. Picked the rod up, saw a couple of taps, picked the rod up and held it, and it really jerked in my hand, and gave up a good account of itself on the way back. Mostly hooked again, so I'll get the pliers, just gently knock that off and get that back in the surf. Turning into a really good session. Well pleased. So guys, quite a bit of weed now. I think it's about half to 3/4 of an hour before high tide. The waves are coming quite close to our little camp now, so I think I'm going to have to move back a few metres. But a couple of rods there I've had really dragged over, and pulling in loads of weed, really heavy. But with this one I took the weed off, and then on the sand eel rod was a little dogfish. So fish are coming steady. So a really enjoyable session. Couldn't wish for any better, to be honest. Gonna fling this little fella back, move my camp back a little bit, and then get the rods back out. So it's about 5 to 10 now, so it's just on high tide, and for about the last hour I've been plagued by this red seaweed, this stringy stuff, and it clings to the line. It's really horrible. I don't remember experiencing it before. Might have done back in the day, but it's really horrible. The waves are still crashing well. I'm not holding the bottom brilliantly, but the right hand rod's definitely got a bite on it. I'm half expecting to wind in a dogfish, if anything, in a minute. But I'm probably going to give it a little bit longer tonight. I was fishing up till about high tide and then packing up last couple of trips, but on this one I think I'm going to carry on a little bit longer. I've got plenty of bait, and it's still only 10 o'clock, so I reckon I'll give it a go till 11, give it another hour, and see if we can catch anything on the ebb. I'm just going to wind this one in now and see if there's anything on the end. Yeah, so as expected, guys, just wound that one in, that squid rod. It was getting a bit of a bite on it, and as expected there's a dogfish on there. But yeah, really pleased to still be catching fish. As I said before, I'm probably going to give it another hour, so I'm going to bait that rod back up, get it back out there, and see what else we can get. So I think it's going to be about it for me tonight. I've got these last couple of rods out there now, but when I wind these in I'm going to be packing up and heading off. I was going to stay for another hour, but the rollers are really coming in and washing all the way out, and I can see it on the rod tips, even 50 or 60 yards out they're getting affected. And I just can't keep the grippers in the bottom. I think the leads and the bait are just rolling about so much out there. Any fisherman by is going to be trying to grab a moving target, and it's going to be really tricky for them to actually get hold of it. But I've had a great session, another brilliant session, 4 species, another conger, a few dogfish, a whiting, and first ever ray off the beach, first ever undulate ray. I think it's an undulate ray, just let me know in the comments if you remember. But yeah, so chuffed to catch that fish. Well worth coming down for a couple of hours after work. Not sure when I'm going to get out again. Hopefully I can get out at the weekend, but I think the tides are going to be a bit weird. The tides are going to be kind of early hours in the morning, so we'll have to play that one by ear. I might be able to do a bit of sort of LRF. Got some LRF gear. A good friend of mine, Alan, gave me some light spinning rods and some little reels, and I've got some little sort of drop shot lures. I thought about around the harbours and round by the ferry port, perhaps just having a little go, seeing if I can catch something that way during the day. So perhaps we'll give that a go at the weekend if I can find a spare couple of hours. But thanks so much for watching, thanks for following this journey with me. It's been absolutely brilliant, and I will see you in the next one.